welcome to episode 30 of the Teaming Up podcast. In this episode, Amanda Christian teams up with Megan Wilson, creative director of Sweet Talk Strategy. The pair talks about the evolution of email marketing, its value in today's digital landscape, and the benefits of this low to no cost channel. If you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed to Teaming Up and leave us a review if you like what you're hearing. Now, Amanda, take it away.
Welcome! We've reached episode 30 of the Teaming Up podcast. Today we're joined by Megan Wilson, owner of Sweet Talk Strategy, the mind behind the Sweet Sauce blog, and content extraordinaire. Hi, Megan.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. We're here today to talk about email marketing, why it should be part of your overall communication strategy, how brands can use it effectively, and really just how to break through the noise in today's kind of crazy communications world. So this is a growing area at Hodges and something over time in my career that I've really learned to love and care for. So before we dive in, I thought I'd set the scene. Email marketing gets kind of a boring traditional rap. So I thought I would share some stats that might dispel any hesitation that people have with email. So one, ROI is unbeatable. So the first email was sent in 1971, which is crazy. It's been a long time. But it took 6 years before a brand actually used it for marketing purposes. And that raked in $13 million in sales, which is crazy. It's actionable. So research says that for every dollar spent, you get an estimated $40 back. There are 4.3 billion users worldwide. Email is the third most used channel by marketers behind social and websites, and 37% of brands this year plan to increase their email marketing budgets. So, with all of that, I thought we could start with kind of how you have personally seen the value of email marketing for yourself, for your clients, and if a client is on the fence, how do you justify email?
Well, I think the stats that you shared are clear and present, and a great case for investing in email marketing. But, in this swirling, I feel like I have to do everything, create all the content for all the platforms all at once. Email marketing is still one of the safest uses of your dollar. Not just the most effective ROI, but it's a safe space to invest your money because you own your email addresses. Instagram, TikTok, where everyone's talking about TikTok, maybe it's going to go away, but you own your email addresses. So no matter what, you can nurture those humans, you can grow them. And like I always say in the customer journey, people meet you on social media, but the sale is made in your emails. So that's where you're going to get that impact. And if people have, just a little bit of money, I say start with email if you can. I love social media. That's one of our most popular services, of course. But email marketing, it is more traditional, but it's a place to really create a deep, long-lasting relationship with your customer.
Yeah, and I think social is such a flashy, everyone wants a great social strategy, but I think email, you kind of have to take a step back and start with that because that's really where you're going to kind of see the end goal of your campaigns. So I totally agree.
Definitely. And you can embed links that people can click and buy. The call to action is right there. Whereas on your Instagram page, they have to go fetch it somewhere unless you're like a major retail brand who has a shop there. But yeah, it's a lot easier for people to click and buy on their laptop, on their computer, and their emails.
Yeah, I think it's also just another place you can take the content you're pushing on social and your other channels and really incorporate it and kind of just keep the longevity of your content going. So I guess the next question I would say is just how does email marketing fit into and support that larger strategic communications plan?
Yeah, it's a great question. Another case for email marketing is We're always trying to work smarter, not harder. So your emails where you can take a deeper dive on your content with your potential or existing customers, clients, donors, whatever industry that you're in. And ideally, what you're putting in your emails is also on social media, but maybe the one short article you're featuring in your email turns into 5 social media posts. So I help with the overwhelm when we do talk with clients about that. It's like, okay, well, we're doing all this work in emails, but it's going to play on all these other platforms, and it's also on your website. It's driving traffic back there, whether you're featuring blogs, staff members, new products, like you're always driving traffic back to that website. And your language and your imagery and your creative should all feel aligned on all of these different places. So that's sort of how we design our workflows is, okay, this is the campaign, this is the message, this is the product, but let's go ahead and make 5 different versions of it all at once. And you find that you're actually streamlining your workflow, but you're doing more at the same time.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I feel like there can be a heavier lift kind of on the beginning of setting up an email kind of system and campaign, but really once you have it going, you can just plug and play and use that going forward. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Of course, one email template, just as you were saying, kind of 5 different journeys, different types of uses for your email. One email template isn't going to be one size fits all. So what are the different types or uses of email marketing, and how does that play into your client work?
Sure. So we've got, the maintenance flow. So those are the emails that that your customers expect to see from you weekly, biweekly, monthly. Usually that's determined on the brand's capacity to support that work. But then we've got, event focused email marketing or deadlines, sales, goals, seasonal campaigns. Those are all a little more urgent, and we treat them completely differently, and they look different, they feel different, and we're creating a sense of urgency with those, and maybe they're a little more fun, definitely a little more call to action heavy. And then we've got, your flows. So for brands, I met you at the farmer's market this weekend. Everyone goes to the Bryan Park Farmer's Market. So I met you, I got on your email list. So I add you to my email list, and now you're on a new prospect email flow. So we've designed 6 emails that potential customer will get over a series of maybe 2 to 3 months. Maybe it's shorter than that, just to introduce them to the brand, educate them about the services, the product, make sure they feel empowered, and then hopefully they become a new customer, and then that unlocks a new email flow. So first-time buyer, you get a flow that kind of is a little more, okay, you've already invested, so we want to take you on a deeper educational journey, or maybe we're trying to upgrade you to other services or products, and so on. So depending on your different customer profiles, you can create automatic email flows that help fuel and educate and empower them as buyers and investors and whatever you have to offer. And those are really powerful. And that's a really also great, effective use of your time, because you do it once and then it can play as many times as you want.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. With email, you can be as simple or as complicated as you want. You can, obviously have the quarterly newsletter, monthly newsletter, or you could go into those journeys, and a lot of the platforms will do the work for you. I mean, you set up the email, but it really sends for you, and you don't have to think about it as much. I mean, you want to update and keep up with it, but really platforms can take the work right off your plate.
Yep. And there's so many of them out there, and it's just finding the one that's right for your industry and for your brain and for your team. And there's lots to explore, and it's okay to switch if you have to, if you're like, this isn't working anymore. And we help clients all the time, transfer data and stuff. It's just, you need a system that works that you can stick to. But, as with all technology, it changes over time, and there's new tricks, and you grow or your business evolves. We saw a lot of that during COVID, a lot of businesses evolving. Who are they? How are they selling? Who are their customers? Really getting nitty gritty on that buyer journey.
Yeah. Let's drill into the who a little bit more. So we talked a little bit about kind of the different journeys and uses of email, but who are the businesses, who are the brands that are using email, and how can they use it effectively? So we have small businesses, nonprofits, large corporations. Can you talk a little bit about who can benefit from email?
Sure. I actually got my start in email marketing through nonprofits. And that's how I met some of the team here, or vice versa. But email marketing was really one of the first free marketing fundraising tools that nonprofits had. So I helped build some of those first email marketing strategies and campaigns here in the city. And it continues to be a wildly effective tool for fundraising. And we find that it's the most effective ways to use emails as a nonprofit is to share personal stories from depending on what they call them, clients, residents, whatever their population that they're serving. But that's a really great place to share those success stories. And people are embedding videos now or GIFs that make that feel more interactive and personal. So that's definitely my recommendation for nonprofits. And, and again, everyone's worried about emailing people too much, but if Old Navy can email me 3 times in one day about this dress that I saw, you can ask your donors for help. Yeah. Then we've got the retail industry. They're probably going to be the most sophisticated when it comes to email marketing. And so we work with actually a local shoe brand. Well, they're not local, they're international, but they happen to be based in Ashland and nobody knows it. They're called Stegman. But wow. We have, great success with emails there. We're sending multiple out a week. We have segmented target audiences. We have women in this age group, men in this age group, teachers, medical professionals. We customize messaging to them. And, and one of the things that I know that they do there is we always automatically send to unopened. So just making sure that people are opening up your emails. And so if you do have a larger pool, go ahead and that's a function of most email systems now. You can send to unopened. So hit them 3 days later if they haven't opened it up. That's usually where we see a lot of, it's like a little tricky technical success thing. So yeah, retail is going to be great. That's the click and buy. And it's also the most rewarding because it is a click and buy experience. So we can see results right away and it's super duper clear. And then we've got our small businesses. Most of them are using it for event announcements, spotlighting locals or spotlighting their customers who are sharing their stories, who've had success with their services or their business. I think that's more of a warmer personal action. I use it for my business and also I hire somebody to do it. So I do emails professionally, but I need someone to make sure I'm staying on track. So personally, I'm always providing a couple useful articles to my clients, stuff that might be relevant to them, clients, prospective clients, people in my network, people who might be clients, sharing helpful articles to showcase our expertise. Then we're spotlighting success stories with our clients so they can kind of visualize what it's like to work with us. And then, of course, we always have offers and events. We teach classes, so we have those calls to action there too, to click and buy. And all throughout it, there are other lighter calls to action, send Megan an email if you have a question. I really try to make it feel personal and spotlight my awesome team too. And they love that. And I think it's good to, take back the curtain of who you are and what it's like to work with you. Because I find a lot of people are scared about investing in service-based businesses because so many people aren't open and transparent. So email is a great way for you to really pull that back and make people feel comfortable and to really trust you with their business and their goals and sometimes their secrets, and especially in the small business world. So we try to make it feel like a safe space.
I feel like there are so many good nuggets to unpack there. First, I loved the shout out to Old Navy because when you think about building your own email for your own business, look to the companies that make you want to keep subscribing, interacting with your emails, because that's a really good tell if they're doing something right. I mean, it's not, sure, you love the jeans, but they're also maybe hitting you at the right time. They've got eye-catching subject lines. They've got all the right things going for them. And then I love that you're transparent and saying that you don't run your own email. That's amazing. But I feel like we've talked about this before of sometimes you just need that outside perspective when you're in the, I don't know, when you're in the game all the time. It's helpful to kind of get someone else's perspective, and also just like you're kind of burnt out from doing it with all your other clients, so it's nice to just hand some things off.
I provide like a lot of guidance. I'm the words and the vision, but I try to let the expert do the work, and I'm like, okay, it's nice, like, someone else take the wheel in those moments. And frankly, it gets the job done. Like, otherwise, I'm not sure you would see consistent emails from me. And, it really does. And it might be a year later that someone's been on my list that I get that email saying, like, hey, like, I'd love to have coffee with you. I'm really struggling with X. And I feel like the email is a more personal place. And again, creating a safe space for people to want to reach out and feel heard, and feel empowered with knowledge and information too. So they can make educated decisions about what they do with their money. But Old Navy's kind of, it's all about adding value, right? So Old Navy adds value to my life because like, that's a really cute dress. And like, if I don't buy it that day, or maybe I don't open up a few of their emails, there might be another email that I go ahead and boom, boom, click buy. And guess what? I've got this cute hot pink jumpsuit from Old Navy that I'm like obsessed with, and I can live out my Barbie days in it.
Yes.
And so that adds value to my life in other ways. So as long as you, when it comes to creating your emails, come from a place of how to kind of add value to someone else's day, to their business, their nonprofit, it becomes less, you feel like less of a bug flying around the office, and more like, hey, I'm just here to help.
I love that. And you mentioned too, kind of the two sides of the coin, where you have a more marketing sales approach where you're getting someone to buy something from your email, but there's also just the relationship building. You're passing along articles that are interesting, the more like brand building, which at Hodges we have quite a few clients that we have newsletters that we're more brand awareness, more just sharing information. We don't necessarily have something to sell. So it's interesting that email kind of has those two sides, and you can play into both for your brand, or one over the other.
And that keeps your creative team inspired, but also keeps the customer less overwhelmed. And again, brand awareness is so undervalued, and I know that's a huge, as a core PR agency, like brand awareness is the most powerful thing. It's not about sales. It's about more people knowing about you who will eventually make the sale. And, it has to be intentional and personal and customized and tangible.
Yeah. And you mentioned kind of earlier in your days working with nonprofits, so it's been a while since you've like kind of started working with email. How have you seen email strategy change over time?
That's a good question. Well, it's hard because we've had the rise of social media at the same time. So again, there's like this panic. And I've just encountered so many people who are just completely overwhelmed by all of it, is really the word that comes up a lot. And even when we're just chatting with other peers, who are not serving, per se, but I just think that email had definitely fell off a little bit for some folks, but now we're seeing a real investment of time and resources to make it work, to leverage it, and people have become aware of the fact like there's always going to be a new social media outlet. It's always going to be at risk of disappearing from your arsenal. So like email is a safe space. Emails and your website, even your website's a little tricky. Like all it takes is a whoopsie daisy, or your dude forgot to pay for the whatever, and people are getting that alert on your website. But your emails, everyone's got an email address, and you have your email platform, you have your email lists, you can send out emails and you can take action there. And people are really seeing great success when you nurture those populations of people who've already said they're interested in you, like the email address. Like, these are real human beings. They're not bots. Whether you like it or not, you have bots following you on social media, and you have bots crawling your website, stealing discount codes. Like, it's really unsafe, but your emails are definitely one of the safer places to communicate with your potential future customers and donors.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier of really extending the life of your content. Mm-hmm. And, we hear all the time, like, it takes, 7 times to see something before it really clicks, mm-hmm. and your audience is engaging with what you're actually posting. So, again, it's just another avenue for you to share content and get it in front of some actual eyeballs. Absolutely.
And, like, when I just did a, 12-hour, retail shoot a couple weeks ago, and I'm shooting photos and videos for everything all at once. Like, I'm thinking about the email headers. I'm thinking about, okay, can you please shift the shoe to the side so I can put a quote there? I can put a sales graphic there. I'm thinking about how to repurpose all of my clients' content a million different ways, and email factors into that. But then all I have to do is crop it and animate it, and then it's a reel, or then it's a, really nice interactive video on the website. So I think it starts back to your core content creation strategy. What am I doing on it? You have to think about these things too before you go out in the field and collect the content. Like you guys, we have a reel camera and a phone videotaping this, and we have audio files for this. We're going to play them in multiple different ways. So it all starts with a plan. And what emails are we sending out? What sales are we having? What products are we launching? What meetings are we having? What events are we having? And what social media posts need to go live? Are we collaborating with anybody? If you have all of that in front of you, then you can really create your content more strategically and keep your email top of mind. And especially if you are sending that a lot, it's so easy to think about social media, but I have to tell photographers and videographers all the time, like, please shoot wider. Like, this is not just for a reel. This is going to go horizontal. I need to be able to cut it to a square. I need to be able to run social and Google ads with it. So, but if you can back up and get a big picture of your holistic marketing plan, you can really maximize your budget. The last thing you want to do is hire a photographer and videographer for the day, and you spent all this money on them, and then you're like, curse word, I don't have any great horizontal images. I don't have anything that's going to work for email. I don't have that hero shot for the product page. I don't have this, that. I need to be able to put this there and do that with it. And the wider step you can take back with your team, the less you'll waste your money and your time on everything and the headaches. And, there are so many platforms, but having a plan is going to help you maximize all of that. And every plan should include email marketing.
That's such a great point. And I feel like it just reiterates the point. Anything with marketing should have a plan, but we can't just think of email as an afterthought. Oh yeah, I guess I have to send that email. It really needs to be part of your plan from the beginning.
It's critical part of the strategy for sure.
Well, to wrap things up, I think it would be fun to maybe give 1 or 2 tips to stand out from all the noise. We have all of these different channels. People's inboxes are full all the time. So what are just a few tips to kind of stand out and really make your email marketing make a difference?
Definitely have fun with your subject lines. I think about it's less... How do you encourage someone to open it up? It's like, what is fun? Like, does it bring joy to them? Like, is it going to look like something else? How, is there a question? Is there an active verb in it? Like, what really puts someone in the mindset of like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't like, did you water your plants today? Like, what an interesting subject line. I just saw a plant in the side, but maybe how can you make something fun and engaging like that? Like, just don't be afraid to have fun with your subject lines and bring joy into someone's day, but also inspire them to open it up. we also, again, like in the email, like how can you make it fun and make it an enjoyable experience for people? It's not just articles and data, which I find myself like, I'm a U of R graduate, big fat nerd. I love like an email full of stats and stuff, but that's me.
Yeah.
And
or
like
present it in an interesting way.
Yeah, how do you make it fun? Like you can add GIFs to emails now. You can add memes to emails. And I also think, save the text heavy stuff for your blogs, for your social media, like captions perhaps, and just make sure there's lots of buttons, lots of places to send your customers so it feels interactive and fun whenever they open it up and they don't unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And, keep things, it's light, keep it light, fun, enjoyable. And, I think if you come from a place of that, can I add value to their day? Can I make their day better? And you'll find that they actually stay tuned and more people will tune in as well. And they'll press that forward button, because it made them happy.
Yeah. Something I tell clients and other Hodgers as well is put yourself in the shoes of someone who's going to receive your email.
Yeah.
And if you would click it, if you would read it, if you would be interested in it, if you would not unsubscribe from it, then you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm clicking on ones that ask questions, that address problems that they know that I'm having, and again, that look fun and provide value or make me say, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you like what you heard today, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.
Love
Thanks,
it.
Megan.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Teaming Up podcast. Teaming Up is brought to you by the Hodges Partnership, a strategic communications agency that specializes in storytelling through public relations, media relations, content marketing, and social media. The Teaming Up podcast is a Happy Committee production. Episodes are released monthly. Subscribe on your favorite podcast service so you never miss an episode.